Oh my goodness, good. Beard of Darkness book reviews. I almost forgot my own name, guys. I have been looking forward to this intro. Well, it's not even. It's like a panel of legends, guys. I watch all your channels.
Right, I'm like looking behind me.
I'm here with just the best of the best. We've got Matt Pittman. We've got Mike. I need some context because I've seen this. Muad Dib. We're gonna get to that. And Tori Talks. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to be here. This has been planned for quite some time. Matt, thank you for being here. Mike, let's go into the Muad Dib.
Muad'Dib is actually how it's pronounced.
Muad'Dib.
You have to read the greatest book of all time, aka Dune by Frank Herbert, and then you'll clearly understand it.
Which
so
I
you got
have
homework
not.
now. You got homework
yes,
now. Yes,
I do.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. And Tori Talks, the Beanie Queen, as she dubs herself. And where would we be without our wonderful spouses watching our children? Because we've all got them, right? Let's shout out to the spouses.
Shout out the spouses.
Shout out.
They're close to self-governing age, but yeah, it's nice. Yeah. They aren't just sitting there rating their Halloween candy right now,
So yours is still going through the Halloween candy. Mine finished that. Like I've got a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a newborn. So they've gone through that.
We had to, put it out of their reach because they would just kill it in one night. We don't want those dental bills. So.
Oh, I love it. Book Mama 87. I'm pumped for this one. Oh my goodness, you and me both. And one of my best buddies, Talking Story, John Minton. Hey yo, everybody.
Yep, good to see John.
Congratulations on 1,000. Good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
1,000
today or
is
yesterday,
a milestone. Yeah.
Many more on the way, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness, his quality is just out there, man. He does just the most genuine type videos. I wish I could be as genuine as John Minton. He's got the experience. I can see it.
You and John started around the same time, didn't y'all?
Yeah. So, did you start in 2023, Matt?
Towards the beginning, yeah.
So I'm going to reiterate what John likes to say. He says, we are the class of 2023.
Yeah.
You, me, and John. Now, we've got some absolute legends. Mike, and we've got Tori. How are y'all tonight? How's your days been? Mike, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. All right.
It's been good. It's been good. I've been really looking forward to this. It's fun to finally get to meet the Matts in person, as we say here on BookTube. And Mike, always nice to see you on a live stream.
Likewise.
How are you tonight, Mike? What's your day been in one of the best states in the U.S. for you UK guys? Philip, that's the best absolute comment you can make. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this. How was your day been, Mike?
Each day is just better than the last year. It's like the first day I didn't have anything going on except this. So, a lot of food prep, watching college football, kind of being lazy, playing some video games with the kids. The best kind of day.
I watched your latest video today, Mike, and there's a couple things that just stand out to me. You're a sports fan. I'm a sports fan, and you read to your boys.
Mm-hmm.
What age did you start really getting through to your boys with your fantasy novels?
Well, you want to talk about my failures first. People think I just picked up Harry Potter one day. My kids were enthralled. Oh no, I tried reading my now oldest Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy a little too soon. He would interrupt me every third sentence to tell me about what he did on Halo today. So it didn't go over well. It wasn't until I guess about 7 or 8 when he really was like, okay, we can do this. But that was with Harry Potter. But when we switched to Percy Jackson, it's just been like an addiction for him. And he doesn't want to do it on his own. He's got me to do all the voices and stuff for him. So,
I've enjoyed listening to your journey doing that. It's been
he's going to be an audiobook listener. He's going to pick up that thing that I couldn't do, which is listen to audiobooks. And he's going to be an audiobooker because of this. Yeah, I'm sure. See, my parents didn't read to me, so maybe that's why I can't audiobook.
So, real quick, I promised the people a little bit of a story before this live session, if you will. So, Mike is why I'm here. He is who influenced me, who I watched so many hours of endlessly. He inspired me to be here and to start my own booktube. Matt is somebody who was a dear friend from the very beginning. And Tori is somebody who I have grown to love when I got here and started venturing out and looking up booktube channels. I have three of the most inspirational people in my life as far as booktube goes, all right here. I'm so happy to have you all three here. Thank you so much. You all mean so much to me.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thanks, Matt.
So, Mike,
yeah,
this is the one. My green screen may mess it up because it is a green book. But the Hobbit.
Oh, is that
is
the one that I held up the other day? Yeah, no, and I think that one's different. I don't think mine has the is it Dwarvish on the edge? I don't know.
Yes.
Philip's here, maybe he can translate it for us. But,
right. The Doctor Fantasy.
Mine just has gold edges, but yeah, it's very nice.
So I seen it at Walmart. I had to get it. I had no idea that Walmart was dealing in sprayed edges. When I seen those, I was like, yeah, I gotta grab that.
Yeah, I mean, who cares that I had like 5 copies of The Hobbit already? I mean, I didn't have that one.
Yeah.
You one thing I remember from you always, especially through your Joe Abercrombie interviews, is you're not afraid to have a few copies of the same book if you really love it, and I respect that. I've got 2 copies of The Hobbit. One is pretty nice, but then I seen this one, and to get to my point. That's the first book I want to read to my older, my son when he gets. I've got 3 sons and I've got a newborn daughter. So when my oldest son becomes old enough to be like, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I want to continue this road that you've kind of paved for me. That's the book that I'm going to grab.
It's a good one to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, how old are your children? Have you read to them yet?
So I did not read to my oldest. Well, I mean, I read children's books to him when he, small children's books, but I didn't continue that on. He's 13, but then I have a 3-year-old, and I have been reading to her ever since she's been born, and so she's more used to it than the older one would have been. And then I have a 1-year-old. I'm also trying to read to him as well. And I have lots of, like you, I have lots of copies of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
I want the one you have. I hope I get it for Christmas coming up.
I heard you're asking for that for Christmas.
Yeah. But I also have the art from all of the Tolkien books. There's one book that has his art. And so I've gone through the story of The Hobbit with my 3-year-old looking at the pictures. And so she enjoyed that. And so when she says she wants me to read The Hobbit to her, she means she wants me to go get the picture book and explain it to her again. So I've done that.
Okay. Tori, you've got, what's your oldest child?
So I have 3. I have an 11, 8, and 6.
What did you start with?
Well, we've been reading to them. Both my husband and I are big book nerds. We were both English majors, theater minors in college. And so we've just been around storytelling forever. So we've been reading them books. I got them like the little abridged versions of a lot of the classics. And my husband and my son have read through The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. My son started reading through the Lord of the Rings a little bit by himself. We didn't realize he was doing it at like age 10. I went in there and he was reading part of the regular version. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's like reading it on his own already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty exciting.
I love that. So one of my passions past my own, because, as people, we have our own interests, and then we have people, if you will, and our passions become different. We want to influence those through our own passions. And I think that that's such a wonderful thing. Mike, what did you start with your children, your sons?
I mean, my youngest son, he's on the spectrum, so it's hard to get him to sit still for long.
Sure.
So when I found one that clicked with him, and it was The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Eric Carle. And I mean, I can recite that book for you right now if you want me to. I don't even have to open it because that's how many times I've read it to him. And every time we try to move on to something else, he just wants that. And here he is, 8 years old now. I'm still reading him this book. I was reading him when he was, 2.
That's
So
awesome.
it's really great. But my oldest, like I said, I tried a few things at first, but he's just always just been a jabberjaw, and he wouldn't be quiet long enough. So it wasn't until Harry Potter, and that was of course because he watched the movie and he really liked it. So that's why I was able to get him to listen to the books. But then he got the little bit of nerd culture right away because I would read the book to him and then we watched the movie right afterwards. He would just complain about all the changes, and I was like, "Get used to it, man. Get used to them never doing it quite like the book." That's why I keep telling you that the book is always better, man. So hope you don't become a Stephen King fan. You'll be really mad.
I want to apologize just on the base of the order of which people started the live. When I put questions up or comments, sometimes the face of those in which I love will get covered for a moment. But we will get your questions up because they will be short-lived and we'll answer them. So I wanted you to
That's
know
why
that.
I still have the free cheapskate version because it doesn't do that. It doesn't cover everybody's
Oh, it doesn't.
I mean, your screen. I think your screen's smaller. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
So in order to have 4 people on StreamYard, I had to format it myself, and I wanted to give everybody an equal size screen. So when you bring up questions, I can't really format. At least I haven't found out a way to format that. If I ever do, I will make it smaller. Nick Horvath, by the way, I have to say, one of the best authors I've read as an indie author so far. Sledge versus the Labyrinth. Oh my gosh. If you like punchy prose, violence, but for a reason, and also a heartfelt main character. Oh my goodness. Sledge versus the Labyrinth. Nick, he was a professional basketball player. He's taller than me. I'm 6'5". He's 6'10". This guy I have to look up to. Thank you for being here, brother. Reading my son Harry Potter right now. I love that, dude. I love it. He's in New Zealand right now. That's where he played professional basketball. Let's see. I want to get to a couple questions or some comments here. Let me look. I don't know about you guys, but those of you who have done lives, is it kind of like the hardest thing to engage in conversation and pick out the gold comments? Kind of touch on that, Tori and Matt, Mike.
It's not for me, but I mean, I don't know. I'm able to multitask really well, but it's a lot of the time, sometimes, especially early in the live stream, everybody's first there, and I miss a ton of the questions for sure.
Yeah,
I don't want that to
sure.
take away from the conversation. So
no, I love that. What about you, Tori?
It's definitely a fine balance, I think, learning as a host how to, keep engaged with the person that you asked on your channel, and then also making sure that the audience feels involved, because that's obviously something that I find really important too. So yeah, there's definitely a balance to it for sure.
I love that. Great answers. So let me get to one of my questions, because I I come up with general questions before I have people on, and I think they're good. What is a novel you read due in part to having a booktube, maybe a review or something you've been asked to do that you normally wouldn't have picked up, but you ended up loving? Matt?
Well, part of that for me will be self-published books. I mean, I'm not necessarily one book. I had never read a self-published book before this year, and now I've read, I was trying to count them today. I was at between 13 and 15 different books that I've read this year, just self-published. So that's one thing that, well, not that way, the other way. Tori, the screen's kind of turned around on my end. Anyway, that Tori really was the first one that I heard talking about them. So I have several. Well, I know one of the questions may be, what are we reading now? Well, something I'm reading now is
out them, brother.
Is Spirits of Vengeance. So
we all know Rob.
Rob J. Hayes is the first self-pub author I started reading mainly because of Tori.
Tori got me to read Never Die.
And I'm so glad she did for me. And now I'm finally on the third book of that. What is it called? The
Mortal Techniques.
Yeah, I'm on the third book now, and I'm enjoying it. So that's
so good.
I was planning to continue. I only have Never Die. I haven't gotten any more yet, but I did
which you do have in your hand in one of your most recent thumbnails, Mike. I've seen it.
Do it?
You do. You do. Yes.
It's very, very pretty book. His artwork is great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Great.
Felix
That,
Ortiz.
yes.
Yeah,
And you can just about
Get to him,
see
Mike. I
anything-
know you're a huge fan like me.
Yeah.
Felix Ortiz, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought you said Mike. That's what it
is he the
Yeah, no,
one
Matt.
that's doing Ryan Cahill's art? Is he doing his too?
I'm not sure.
Did he
I
do
think
something
he's done
for
some?
He did
He's doing
something.
something with Broken Binding, I think. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
I know he's doing Malazan when that
Oh,
is
maybe that's
coming
it.
through. Dude, which, look, Mike, are you on the subscription of Broken Binding?
No, their shipping was just way too expensive for me. But
Okay.
they asked me to be a rep, but then nothing ever really kind of happened with that. So I don't know if I still am or not. So I'm hoping
Okay.
that I am because
Well,
I would love a shot. Me and Philip were talking about this. Can I just write a check right now for those Malazan books? Because I
Yep.
will.
Yes.
That's it. But I the subscription.
Look,
Yeah.
Ryan
wife is with me.
Cahill's books, but Malazan as a Broken Binding special editions. Look, you've got me hooked. So the last time I checked with Broken Binding, I don't know the name of the guy that I was talking to. I was like 7,000 in the waiting list. I'm hoping that that's a little shorter now because I would love. I know that Mike, you've got Of Blood and Fire. I watched your opening of that book. It's such a beautiful book.
Yeah,
but
Ryan actually had them send that to me just like as a thank you, for putting the word out about his book. So I was like, if you wrote a shitty book, I wouldn't have put the word out. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which kind of brings me to a point that I wanted to make too. You probably know this if you watched Ryan Cahill's interview with me. You and his interview is really what inspired me to do interviews, what inspired me to do a YouTube channel, period. So I've watched that interview probably close to like 20 or 30 times. I love it. So I wanted you to know that now that I have you within my ear's range. It is why I'm here.
Man. Ryan's good people. I feel
He
like,
is.
thing was, like, I feel like we talked for 3 hours, and I was like, I feel like we could have probably kept talking for 3 more because he's just an easy guy to talk to. But I wanted him to go back and write. So
Yeah.
get off because I have to wait for your books now.
You made a post on Twitter that was like, I got to redo my shelves, and I build my own bookshelves. Which, if you ever catch me looking this way, I'm looking at my bookshelves. You got to find a stud. So what was a book that you normally wouldn't have picked up but ended up loving it, Mike?
I don't know if to say that I wouldn't have picked it up, but I think what kind of got it back on my radar is because I don't really read Westerns, but Lonesome Dove, without a doubt, is a book that I maybe never would have picked up if it wasn't for having a booktube channel. Just talk about my love of character first. I mean, it's like if I love your characters, I'm going to probably end up liking your story, even if you're slice of life doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And there are large chunks of Lonesome Dove. Nothing's going on. They're just hanging around campfires. You know what? Damn it, if you don't feel like you're sitting at that campfire with them, it's just that good. But yeah, I mean, I usually, when I think about things like greatest books ever, I'm like, oh, it takes time. Legacy takes time. I finished Lonesome Dove, and then I did my top 10 books of all time like a month later, and I put Lonesome Dove on there. It's that good that it skipped the legacy or the waiting legacy takes time line. That's how good it was. So yeah, and I wouldn't have done it if at least not at this point in my life, I would not have read it if not for all the recommendations I get just talking about how much I love characters. And everybody's like, that's the best character book ever. And they might have been right.
You, real quick comment. You are the person who my wife wasn't a reader. I was a reader at 29. I started reading when I was I'm 33 now. I haven't been doing it very long. Wow. But the reason that I said, hey, babe, my wife, Ashley, I said, hey, check out Lonesome Dove because of you, Mike. And she, dude, it has absolutely just loved it. In fact, she's got like 30 pages left, and she has put off finishing it because she loves it so much.
I've had that. Yeah,
that's
you ever
awesome.
had a book that's like so good you just don't want to finish it because you don't want it to end? I remember I think I read the first 3 Faithful and the Fallen books in like a month. Ooh. And then the last book, it took me like 5 weeks. And everyone in the Discord's like, "Will you finish this so we can talk about it?" It's like, I don't want to. I can't say goodbye yet. That's when you know something's really, really great.
It's like I don't want it to be over. So, Matt, what is the book you normally wouldn't have picked up?
I think Tori, I think you got me on this one.
Rob J.
I did the first one.
Okay, yeah. So Tori, what was so Rob J. Hayes was yours, Matt. We've got Lonesome Dove for Mike, and Tori, what was yours?
So many. I think one that I'm actually, since we were talking about it, one that I am hoping to finish this next month that I'm kind of in that, like, I don't want it to end moment is The Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham, which I definitely would not have picked up if not for people like Alan from Library of Alexandria and my friend Pete, Ponderings of Pete. He's a fan of it as well. And it's that I'm just completely in love with this series. So yeah.
I love that because look, there's some books naturally. There's so many names out there. Look, they just impact us individually. It's such a wonderful thing when we can kind of share those between one another. And Daniel Abraham is one that I haven't read, that I have written down, that I will be reading. That I add to my endless TBR that we all have, right?
Yeah.
I've read 7 Expanse books. Does that count? Since he's one half of the authorship,
that counts.
So I kind of have my dad often doesn't show up during these interviews. I have to kind of shout out his
I love that.
Hi, Dad.
Man, I'm so jealous. My parents could give 2 shits that I do this. Like, no. My mom's like, no one's going to listen to what you're reading. And I was like, thanks, Mom.
Well, actually.
Still, he thinks it's ridiculous. But this is great. That's great, man.
I love that, though. We've all got like our personal relationships, but my dad asks, son, what book can I get you for Christmas? I'm looking at Chris Wooding. Hold on.
Oh, Emberblade?
Yes, Emberblade.
I have it. I haven't read it yet.
I have it too.
My goodness. Chris, is it Wooding?
Mm-hmm.
Woodington?
Yep.
Wooding. Okay.
Yep.
Chris Wooding.
People carry on about
he's
that
got book. It's classic fantasy, just the most modern way, but classic fantasy. Chris Wooding, Dad. Yeah, thank you, Pops. I really appreciate you being here.
If you're asking me, Lonesome Dove, but you weren't asking.
So my dad's not a reader. So I feel like he has to really push himself to kind of relate, so I appreciate that a whole bunch.
See, now I hope my kids do this so I can go on their chats and talk to them. It'll be probably about video games or something, which is cool. I like those too. So.
John says, awesome daddler, of course. Father of Beard, love it. By the way, BellTube, guys, look.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a brand new channel. So people know him. But I only know him from watching his first couple videos. Oh my gosh, the quality just right off the rip. What's going on, guys? I didn't have that quality. Man. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you're telling you the plunge, man. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a sports guy too, so we get to talk about that stuff.
And he's the inventor of something awesome too. Go check his channel out. The next question that I kind of have written down, if you will, what are you guys currently reading? Matt, go ahead.
Well, I am currently reading several things. I'm reading several things. I already showed you one, Spirits of Vengeance. I am in the process of reading the C.S. Lewis's The Space Trilogy.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh.
Nice.
I just finished Pyrlandra yesterday. I'm reading The Curse of the Fallen. I can't get this camera right. The Curse of the Fallen by H.C. Newell.
It's so good. It's so good.
Here's one for Mike. I am on my path to the beam.
That's one of the best, man.
I'm on Wastelands.
Is this your first read?
It is.
Oh,
it is.
jealous.
Mike. So my reading journey was different than pretty much most people's. I hear people talk about being a loving reading growing up, and I hated reading. My dad was he was a literature teacher. He loved reading. He said, I don't know how an idiot like you come from a genius like me. Just joking around, but I just wasn't a reader. And until the past about 3 years, I read nonfiction books, but not fiction or fantasy. And so my dad loves Stephen King, and that was one of the I think the first video I saw of you was one about horror. That's what brought me to your channel and Stephen King. And I said, well, my dad likes Stephen King. I need to pick up some Stephen King. Anyway, I'm rambling. But one of the main books I'm reading right now, as far as
Ramble away.
giving the most time to, is The Severing Sun by Von Roycroft. And I am really enjoying it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for flat out fantasy, there's no magic. There's no mythical creatures. It's a made up world, but it's a great story. A great story. I'm at 50% right now and enjoying it.
It really is one of those. I think we were sent the book about the same time, Matt. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I started reading this book. I'm very impressed so far. Von Roycroft. What a freaking amazing name. Von Roycroft. He was just born with one of those names. Tori, what about you?
Just point at him and be like, they're either a Viking or an author. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or both. Or both.
Right. A Viking author.
Tori, what are you currently reading?
I am currently 50% through
Holy.
Until the Last by Mike Shackle.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so glad you guys finally picked this, because it seems like everybody's reading it now, and I'm like, where were you guys 6 months ago?
I'm so listening to you talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, you are the person responsible for me knowing.
Mike's messaged me and let me know that he as well. So yeah, no, Mike's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he's super nice. He actually, if you guys want to see something cool, so he sent me this one because I was.
Did he draw for you?
He did.
Yeah,
so
I love the drawings.
He drew my favorite character.
Yes.
In the book, which was so cool.
No fucks.
Now, which one is that? Which character is that?
Yes.
What character is it, Tori?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
YAS. Yep.
Okay.
She's not saying yes, Queen. She's saying yes.
I'm not that far. I'm not that far, so I didn't know.
Yeah. I need to talk to some people about the ending of that book, about some things, about my feelings on it.
I'm already talking. I'm talking. I'm feeling some feelings already here.
It's
there was, and I'm not going to give anything away, but there were some things.
The epilogue. All right.
Yes. Yes. Well, there was some things that of a specific character that I said I wish. Now I love the book. I will recommend the book to anybody. But there was one character that what he did with them, I did not like. I just didn't like it. I thought, oh, you just should have done something else.
I read in the riot act and direct messages, and he was like, "So you liked it?"
Yeah. Oh, and I loved it. But there was this one particular character. And not the one from the epilogue. I wish I didn't like the ending for this particular character. And I haven't talked to him about it.
I'm done. Yeah, because I will talk because I'm wondering if I have thoughts on one of the characters as well that I'm.
Man, we ain't gonna spoil enough for you. Just trust us. It's a great book.
Yeah,
great series.
I'm excited.
So me and John has just released a wonderful review of book one. I'm on. Let's see. Exactly. I'm on chapter 4, guys. I'm very, very new with this. But oh my goodness. Okay, so what I look for in a book when I first started is adventure, a foreshadowing of what's to come. Oh my gosh. I haven't been this excited.
Bang, doesn't it?
Yep.
It does. You have this female. I won't ruin anything. You have this female who's kind of ashamed of some things that she's done or not done, and I'm at the part where shit starts hitting the fan. I'm very excited. So,
but it doesn't stop.
No,
I'm so excited.
It's still going, and I'm in book 3.
So when we're done with this, guys, which I'm not looking forward to the end. I am fully embracing this experience. But when I am done, I will be going to the bedroom with my newborn, if she gives me the chance, to start reading, hopefully like halfway through the book, because I probably won't go to sleep tonight. I started yesterday, and I've got some time during the day today. Like I said, if I get to the bedtime situation and can get through halfway through the book, I will. I'm so excited. I love that. Those answers are the best because we relate in so many ways. Tori, This
Yes.
is actually directed to you.
Oh.
Tell us more about what is going on with
You
you.
didn't even ask me what I read. You see that? Wow.
Oh, well, you said that you were reading. I'm so sorry, Mike. Go ahead with what you're currently reading. I'm so sorry. I thought that I got to you.
Everybody's just gonna be mad at me anyway. So.
Well,
Yeah, just flashing
probably-
the art copy around.
I know.
I'm also reading Pillars of the Earth, but it's downstairs. That's a reread, but this is obviously the the main attraction. So, but it's Tori,
so-
tell us
no,
about
no.
your book.
No. Hold on. Let's pause real quick. We're gonna get to that. I thought you were talking about Mike Shackle. So I was actually I made notes. You and I admire the exact same thing about Jay Kristoff. His cuss words.
They're
Look.
next level, aren't they?
Oh my gosh. Look, if you're a how would you put it, Mike? You really come up with the best explanation as to how he cusses. It's next level.
It's like, when you were kids and it was like you would try to like one up everybody with your insult. He does that, but with his curse words. He one ups his own cuss words.
Oh.
And I asked him, like, how do you come up with this stuff? It's like just me and some mates get together and just get smashed. And we just, how guys talk to each other, And he's like, I make mental notes of what those are made up of. So it's just, and everything.
Like,
So you just like him because of course there's more to it than that. I'm just saying
There's
that's
way
one of his
more. It's
styles
creative.
that sticks out. Yeah.
So my notes, Mike, just so you know that I put an emphasis on this and I didn't mean to skip you. It says, Mike, Jay Kristoff swearing. So when he swears, it's creative. It's in a way that I've never heard personally.
So
It's
not like Brandon Sanderson.
Nothing like
he
Brandon
doesn't say
Sanderson.
colors. He goes for it.
he is balls out like oh my gosh. Can you think of an example, Mike?
I mean, Twat Goblin's a good one, right?
Twat Goblin, yes. Twat Goblin. Look, we're getting full out on this. First Amendment, free speech.
Oh my God, I'd actually bookmarked one. I think I can quote this without getting in trouble. But see if I can keep talking.
Get in trouble.
I can find
You're
it.
about to get demonetized.
No, so while he's looking at that, I want to let you know while I'm reading anything by Jay Kristoff, but especially Empire of the Vampire, what I'm enjoying most is not only the illustrations, because he has these illustrations that are not normally through a book. Let me grab it real quick if I can find it. Momentarily, guys. It's not.
I have
Go ahead, Mike.
I have gone back and forth, almost buying Empire of the Vampire and not buying Empire of the Vampire. I'll hear what Mike says, and I'll say I need to buy it. I'll hear what oh, my mind just went blank.
What, Alan?
Alan. I'll hear what Alan says.
Alan.
Like, maybe I don't need to buy it because I'm okay with cussing. I'm not as okay with other things, at least not as comfortable. And so I haven't bought it yet. I haven't bought in yet.
Yeah, you and me both, Matt.
I'm sure there is more to the cussing. It just makes me laugh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You like how Joe Abercrombie does it? It's like that, but like times a million.
Yeah. He doesn't go into like explicitly like sexual things or like there's violence, but it's not to the point where it's grotesque or like distasteful. It's a way of cussing that is creative. I don't know. Only an author could pull it off. I wish I could think of more. He also brings history throughout the book. Like you hear about his childhood dealing with like these vampires and like some friends, a loved one, like a potential girlfriend kind of thing, like a first love. But it all stems from like he's in prison. He is talking to basically the guy that imprisoned him. And I haven't made it all the way through the first book, so I'm not necessarily the guy to go to for that whole overview of the first book. And it's wonderful so far. Until Mike finds that what he's looking for, we're gonna kind of skip.
I'm gonna look up the message. Me and Jay Cross were actually messaging about it because I was laughing. Bucked tooth shitwits. And he said that'd be a good band name.
Yeah, 100%. Like a British band, right?
I love it.
So like I said, a lot of us here have the same beliefs, and it doesn't fall out of those constraints. Tori, tell us more about what's going on with you as an author. Tell us about your first book and what's about to come out.
Okay, well, my the book that is out already that a lot of people have seen probably is Phased, which is a dark supernatural fantasy about a pair of werewolf sisters that are basically fighting to stay alive after many years of being lab rats, essentially. And Bloodstones, which is coming out in 17 days, oh my gosh, is my official first epic fantasy debut, which has been my dream since I was a kid. And I'm just really excited to finally be here and finally have the book coming out. And I could not be more excited. So it's getting fantastic reviews so far. I'm really happy.
I'm so excited to read that book. And I'm least excited about how much these comments cover your face. It's just what happens.
There we go.
There. Yes. Thank you so much. BellTube, which look, guys, this guy has he has like 2 videos and already 200 subscribers. What the hell is this guy doing?
I've been doing it a year. I only have 300. So
I love it. The guy's got, I talked to him a little bit before we come on here, and he said he was going to be, I was so excited. Phased is fantastic. Nothing like I expected. Everyone go read it. I love it. Yep. He's already fitting in. He knows what to do, and he's telling his experience. He already knows. Talking awesome. Story. So maybe you guys can give me some context. Where did Brian come from? Did it seems like he was a
Minnesota
member of BookTube. Okay, yeah, Minnesota for sure. I saw that. I don't know. He seems to be like friends with Philip Chase and some other big authors.
He's been in the community for a while. I met him back in, I think, March or April this year because I was a captain for a Discord readathon back in March, April, and he was on my team. And we had a great little like community family going on during the readathon, and Brian was a big part of that. I think he was the first person on my team to max out his readathon requirements, if I remember correctly. He's on my winners axe I made with everybody's names on it. So yeah.
I love that.
He's awesome.
So it's not only fun to find a booktuber who is like passionate about books, but one that's been there. And it's kind of proved himself, if you will. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I've asked him on my show. I can't wait to talk with him. Some Okie dude.
It is.
Yeah. Yep. Isn't her book called The Blood of Stones?
Bloodstones. Yep.
I love that. Let me look over here because, like I said at the beginning, I'm terrible at like doing 2 things at once. Like I'm fully engaged in this conversation, but I'm going to look over here for some wonderful comments because I'm terrible at that.
No, you do a good job.
You're doing fine.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Montague, by the way, I have to shout out. This guy keeps me on time. He's got some. He's a writer from back. He was published in Penthouse. Look, back in what? You have to remind me, Montague, when. But he was published in Penthouse back in the day when it was like, I'm reading this for the stories, right? That worked. Mike, I just noticed here's Johnny on the door. That's awesome.
Yeah, that and got the Dark Tower keyhole here. I got Christine license right there. The Dairy Press right there. For
the Dairy Press. That's what I want. I want the Dairy. I went to Spirit Halloween this year looking for it, and they did not have it.
Yeah, they had a map of the Overlook Hotel, and I was like, nah, that isn't really fun. But yeah, I did notice it wasn't there anymore.
So much. Yeah, I could go on for hours about just that. Like I said, Mike, you're the reason that I started a booktube. So just to put it out there, when I first started watching BookTube, I was like, I only take serious. And this was just my brain. Those who do interviews or live streams, those who I take very seriously. Others I do take. Joanna, she does wonderful things. I'm sure she has her live streams and her interviews. I'm sure she does. But those like Mike, Tori, you do interviews. You just stood out to me, and I knew that I had to do interviews. Not that I just had to, but oh my gosh, I fully I love doing it. I love talking to people and their culture. I've talked to people from all over the world, India, so many places, UK, just to name a couple. And even the States, you find so much. Like Matt, you're in Louisiana, right?
I'm in Mississippi, but I'm from
Mississippi.
Louisiana.
But you're from Louisiana.
Yeah.
You are Cajun.
I'll always be from Louisiana.
You like the alligator jambalaya.
Hey, Mississippi's losing to Georgia right now, so even though I know you're an LSU fan, but still, maybe you can flex on the Mississippi people. Okay,
let's hear it. As the rebuttal.
Oh, he's
What's
an
that?
LSU fan. It doesn't really matter. I was just saying that you're in Mississippi and Georgia's walking all over Mississippi right now, and college football.
I haven't paid attention to that side as far as since this. So yeah, I didn't know. I assumed they were anyway. Yeah. I don't. So I am in central Mississippi. There's not a lot of Ole Miss fans around us. It's mainly state fans, which I married into that. My wife's a state fan, which they're having a rough year. So I try not to say too much bad about them.
All right. Well, no, I respect that. You're a man of your marriage. I love it.
She may be listening.
You're in trouble, buddy. What is a piece of advice? We'll start with Matt and then go to Mike and then go to Tori. Oh, no, we'll go to Matt, Tori, Mike. What is a piece of advice you'd give somebody wanting to start a YouTube/booktube channel? Matt.
All right. So I was watching a live. In fact, it was the live. I've watched so many lives. I don't remember which one's which, but I know Mike and Tori were talking. And on that particular live, that's when I was thinking of starting a BookTube channel. I had been talking about books on Twitter and things like that, but I hadn't. And so I made a comment that I'm thinking about doing it, but I don't know that I want to turn the camera around. What I meant by that is do a video. Anyway, and they both were very encouraging in it and saying I should do it. And I did it. Now, I will be the first to admit, and I'm not looking for I know people want to encourage you. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the best at making a lot of video content, but it has really enhanced my enjoyment of reading books. I mean, I went from reading 12 or so books a year to reading between 70 and 80 books a year in the last 2 years. So it's really helped me personally with reading, and I've enjoyed it so much. And so anyway, now let me get to what you actually asked. My advice to someone who's going to start or wanting to start a BookTube channel is just be yourself and go ahead and understand it's going to be a little awkward. If you're not used to having a camera and talking to a camera, it's going to be awkward. But there's also a lot of rewards to it if you'll do it and you'll stick to it. Even if you don't see the numbers, you'll still build relationships, and that's the best part.
Real quick, Matt is, like I said at the beginning, one of the first friends I made in the BookTube realm. He's just a genuine guy. I love watching your videos. I watch every single one of them. Tori, what is your bit of advice?
Kind of springboarding off of that, I would just say make friends. That's a huge one because I took a hiatus because I wasn't in the right community when I started my channel. I started in January 1st, 2020 and was in it for a while and was in the wrong community. And I just felt like a fish out of water most of the time. And then I discovered our community and I've been here ever since. And that's been making friends is going to keep you up on those days when you feel burned out, because content creation can burn you out sometimes and you can get a little lost and try to figuring out what do I do now? What do I want to do with my channel? And just roll with it, try things and make friends. That's my advice for starting out.
And at 104,000 subscribers, Mike, what is your bit of advice?
I mean, as far as like starting, I just tell people go for it. Your first video is going to be your toughest. And I know that most people who do this, I mean, let's be honest, it's a stereotype. It's one of those stereotypes that's kind of true. Most book readers, we're kind of introverts, and not everybody has an outgoing personality, things like that. People think I just turned around the camera one day and I was just talking like I podcasted for like 12 years before this. That's why I'm able to talk. The camera was just like, okay, you're the one who has to deal with this face, not me.
The face.
So I thought, okay, hey, my voice is good enough. Maybe I can get people to actually listen to what I'm saying. But yeah, always just go for it. But I just, people get so discouraged if they don't have instant success. And I tell them, there's no magic bullet.
No.
You have to work hard. There is no other way around it. You have to work hard. You have to be committed to it. But I always encourage people to follow what I call the 3 Bs. And not the letter B, but B-E. The 3 Bs. Be yourself, be honest, and be consistent. So be yourself.
Ooh.
Don't try to emulate someone else's channel. Don't try to look at one of the popular YouTubers and say, I'm going to have it. Because your viewers will notice it right away and they will call you out for it. They will not like it. Yep. Be honest. I tell them, don't make videos for outrage clicks, and, don't make it just because it's the popular opinion. You just want to, some confirmation bias. Be honest. Your viewers are going to respect you if you're honest about it. And they can tell you're not just doing it just to be a contrarian. They'll know. They can tell. Your viewers are smart. They will know if you're kind of full of it. And be consistent is just don't take time off. I know it's hard. But here's the thing, guys. If the algorithm, once it spits you out, it's next to impossible to get back into it. So I know not everybody can put out 3 videos a week. I'm insane. Don't compel yourself to that. What I'm saying is that, like, don't put out 1 video, take a month off, come back, make 2 videos, take a month off, and then be like, I just can't get any footing. You have to work hard. But I'm saying, even if it's just 1 video a week, make 1 video a week. If you're like Jared Henderson and you make really, really quality videos and you put out 2 videos a month, cool. Just make sure that you do that. So stick to it. Make a schedule, kind of stick to it. So 3 Bs.
Oh my
really
gosh.
long answer. But no, and I get asked that a lot. So
and just to say how consistent he's been with that, I sent him a message on Twitter way back when I first started, and I was asking him what any advice he had, and he gave me the 3 Bs. So
that's it.
Yeah, I love it.
I appreciate that.
So, look, guys, there are people who are so influential, and it's not even because, I don't know, when I started watching BookTube, because, look, I watched BookTube, and my wife can tell you, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching BookTube. It's you, Mike, and Matt's book reviews, Matt's fantasy book reviews is another channel. I just, you learn so much, and it's like this consistent, addictive. We all have this passion as far as book lovers, and it becomes this like, it's this need to just have that fed, and you do so well, Mike, Tori, and Matt. You guys do so well. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I want to reiterate that.
This is like a great confidence booster, man.
I know. I'm just, gosh.
No. I mean, I feel like whenever I just hang out with my kids, all I hear about is how I suck at everything. So this is a great interview.
And I see Mike, and they don't make sense to me, because look, I see that you pour your heart, Tori, you pour your heart, Matt, you pour your heart into what you do. And that is why I'm here with you guys. I asked you guys particularly for a reason. Just thank you. You have made me who I am as far as a booktuber. I love it. Everything you guys do has inspired me. And I'm just, again, I'm just so happy. What is so since starting your channel, what book or project, interview, etc., what was the most fun to do, Matt?
So I'm still yet to do any interviews, and you're putting
no,
me
you're not.
Here.
We did interview, me and you.
No, I mean from my channel, doing an interview, getting other people on my channel. I've not done that, and so I need to try that. I don't exactly know how all the
read this comment. Read this comment real quick, Matt. go read books. It was your personality that got me to subscribe.
It sure wasn't my looks.
100%. Look, we've got the same
I
looks,
appreciate
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, forgive me. What was the question? Okay, I know what it was. Anyway, so my favorite thing that I've done since I've done it, actually, it's the last video I did, about a month ago. Sorry, Mike. Yeah, I haven't created another video in a month. But anyway, so there's another booktuber, and I'm saying this because I don't want to. I want to give credit where credit's due. I saw her do it. Seems like a couple of years ago, or maybe the video was a couple years old. Sarah Reeds.
Oh yeah.
So she took books, just random books off of her shelf, read the first line, and rated the books.
Yes.
I did that. I did that as well, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. And then I thought, I need to do this with indie books, and just to try to get more of their name out, and that was the only reason I did it, to try to help promote some of these indie authors a little more. And I enjoyed that so much, and probably I've had more reaction and more conversation from that video than I've had from anything else I've done, and I enjoyed that.
Look, Matt, real quick, I'm gonna make a little comment after everybody's input here. Matt, what you do as far as being genuine and being yourself is, like Ian Montague said, is what attracted me to being a buddy now. You do a wonderful thing.
I appreciate
so keep
that.
being yourself and keep doing what you're doing, Matt. I absolutely look up to what you're doing, and I love it. Tori,
I love that you two are like each other's hype man on Twitter.
I love it.
You guys are like, it's like, I don't know, maybe here's like a wrestling guy, but you guys are like Paul Heyman for Brock Lesnar for each other. Y'all are just like hyping each other up, and I appreciate that. I think that's great.
And what's better is that we're in the same age range to know what the frick that means.
Hey, I want to be somebody's hype man.
Yeah, I got you, dog. Tori, let me reiterate the question. What is the piece of advice you give somebody wanting to start a booktube channel?
Well, kind of like what I mentioned before, just the community, I think, is a big part of that. And there's been times when I've really struggled, and it was amazing to have people to reach out to bounce ideas off of, to have somebody on your live streams and just talk, and, and just trying things, especially at the beginning. Try different types of videos and see what you enjoy the most, because what you're most passionate about is going to be what draws people to you in the end.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So Matt,
go ahead, Matt.
Just real quick. I think the question you were wanting her to answer was the one you just asked me, her favorite, what she's done so far on the channel.
So your favorite book project, your interview, kind of ties into the same thing. Since starting your channel, what was your favorite interview project kind of thing?
Let's see. I think this was last fall I did this, or was it early this year? There was a video I did called Dear Writer. And it was, I got together over 25, 30 authors, indie traditionally published authors, all to send me little clips about, encouragement for writers on the hard days. Yeah. And they all were so generous and so gracious and sending me, there's so many incredible authors on that. And they all sent me these beautiful clips. I cried editing it. People cried watching it. Like, it was such a beautiful,
very important to you.
It was. And I think it was a beautiful representation of how this community tries to lift each other up a lot.
Yeah.
I still go back. I needed that finishing my own book this year. I went back and rewatched the Dear Writer video, and just, it was a good uplift. So that's definitely one of my top ones.
First of all, I want to say, Matt, thank you for giving me, dude, when I do these things, when I say that I mess up these questions, dude, you've got me.
Oh no. Yeah. I knew what you wanted to ask her. So I was trying to,
also, I did mention, because a lot of people don't know this about, or are surprised about this about me, but I grew up watching WWE wrestling when I was in junior high.
Hell yeah.
I know what you guys are talking about.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Undertaker. Zero competition. I
So,
know that's basic, but
no. The basic answers. I'm going to say mine. Stone Cold Steve, NWO, Mike with the koozie.
Well, I go a little more old school. My favorite's always been Ric Flair.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, woo!
Four Horsemen, baby. That was my original NWO. Yeah.
Look, Steve Austin with it. Like, look, I like some beer. I like beer. Don't get me wrong. You clash those beer together and say he just wasn't afraid to give the middle finger.
Literally.
Literally. I actually watched some videos today that were very like nostalgia, if you will. It's so fun because it's totally different now.
Yeah.
Look, the WWF are something we can all remember. When the the Wildlife Foundation took that to a whole new level. It's the WWE now for you younger folks. It was so fun. So Andrew Wizardly reads, what's going on, my brother? I have something coming up with him soon. Thank you for popping in, brother.
Yeah, Andrew, we're going to be breaking down the greatest tag team matches of all time here very soon. Just hang tight. It's gonna be great.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that
Legion of Doom. We're done.
Steiner Brothers versus Legion of Doom. Boom.
Hey, do you guys remember Owen Hart, Deborah McMichaels? I met Owen Hart like a week before he died. Yeah, he was here in Columbus. I'm in Ohio, guys. He was in here in Columbus, and like my mom woke me up one day. I was on the couch, and she's like, "Hey, Owen Hart just died." I'm like, "Oh my god, I just met him. Rest in peace." Yeah, rest in peace. On a serious note, yeah, performance-wise, yeah, no. We owe our respect to those who we owe our respect. I love it.
I make wrestling just kind of mentions all the time. I'm like, people have no idea what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
But I'm glad there's some who do.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So starting with Matt, then to Tori, then to Mike, just because that's the natural order of things based on who's popped in.
He skipped me again, didn't he, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt's all like, "Oh yeah, I always keep you in line when you miss your questions." This is the second time he skipped me.
Dude, I did. I'm so sorry. Go ahead with starting your show. What was your favorite book project interview? Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I've talked to some really, really great people.
Dude, you inspired me, so you already know this.
I don't want to diminish anyone else. I mean, getting to talk to Joe Abercrombie was amazing. I feel like me and Jay Kristoff have actually become like friends because of this. Me and Christopher Rocchio text each other all the time about non-book stuff. So I've met some authors and gotten to talk to them that I would have never even imagined when I started this. But I gotta say, for me, finally getting to kind of go full circle, it's going to kind of be a little bit of a story here with Pierce Brown. That was amazing. Because obviously Red Rising is like one of my favorite things in the world. And I'm watching Matt's kind of journey through that was just like so much fun. That's how I discovered him when he was going through that. But when I had like 200 subscribers, I think maybe I hadn't been doing this very long. I started in like April 2019, and in August of that year, he had this book signing for Dark Age. And me and my friend, we drove up to Austin to go to the book signing and meet him. And Red Rising's gotten a lot more popular since then. Honestly, it has, because we're at this book signing and there's maybe 100 people there, and so he spent so much time like individually talking to each one of us and stuff like that. Now he's so popular, the book's pre-signed. They just hand it to people, He signed it. We're talking on Twitter. He told me, "I'll sign anything you want." But I told him when I was there, I was like, "Hey, I just started this thing called a booktube channel. Just talking about books." He's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard about that." And I was like, I would love if one day I could have you on there talking. He's like, "Hey, just hit me up. We'll get together after, when things settle down a little bit." Well, it took 4 years, but he's a man of his word. It did finally happen because he's very, very busy. And so it just felt kind of almost like a full circle for me that, when the channel first started, one of my earliest videos you can go back and watch is me actually recording stuff at that book signing.
Yeah.
And then when I felt like I actually got to talk to him, I was like, I got no more things. I mean, obviously, like talking to Stephen King, but I don't think he even has the internet. So, yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one. But I was like, that felt like, the last real big bucket list for my channel. So it felt really, really good. It really was.
So, if anybody is looking for a reason to call ADHD a real thing, it's asking
Hello.
Matt and Tori, and forgetting to complete the panel because, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It
You're
happens
good.
to the best of us. I mean, I called my kid my dog's name earlier. Don't worry about it.
Dude, so I have 3 boys and 1 girl, and I called one of my boys my girl's name earlier.
Just wait till you start going through the whole lineup. You call them everybody in the house's name. You complete the roster except the person you're trying to address.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And Mike just kind
I'm
of picking up off what you said, Mike, about my journey in Red Rising. I know Tori, she's also I keep pointing that way. Anyway,
I get it.
Yeah, dude, it's totally look, being live is one of those most like human things ever. We forget who we forget. We point where we don't mean to point, and
Right.
it's just one of these. We're all human. So go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing I've enjoyed seeing is other people reading Red Rising, in part because of my recommendations. I have a couple of friends, he's not necessarily follow me on BookTube. They're friends
In real life.
who I talk to on a regular basis. Yeah. And so I have 2 particular friends who are reading through the books right now, and they're on Dark Age. They just started Dark Age.
Fun.
And I've kind of given them all the warnings and be in a right place, be in a good place mentally, but they're enjoying it. And so we're already talking about doing a reread next year in hopes that Red God will come out. I don't know when it'll actually come out, but
I have
anyway, so just seeing other people read it, me reading it because of you, them reading it because of my recommendation. That's an awesome thing to see.
Mhm.
So what would you say is your favorite thing, Matt, starting, is your favorite thing about Red Rising that you didn't expect to be about your favorite thing?
Oh, I don't even know how to answer that question.
That's a good question. Damn.
My favorite thing that I didn't expect to be my favorite thing.
Me, okay, so let me give you a little bit of background.
Okay.
I have yet to start Red Rising. Okay, me as a person. What was it that you went into that series thinking you would love that you ended up not loving? Do you get kind of what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I went into it blind. I had no other than what I'd heard Mike say about it. Though Mike's good at not giving spoilers. He's good at talking. He's good at talking of a book without giving spoilers. And so I went in it pretty blind.
But I'll still get accused of giving spoilers. You said the character's name.
Mike, you get accused of the funniest things. I enjoy watching your I still call it Twitter when you talk about give screenshots of what people complain to you about.
It's great.
But so I have enjoyed. I've enjoyed everything. I don't have really any complaints about Red Rising. I enjoy the character development. I enjoy the fact, I'll say this, I enjoy the fact that when I first read the first book, I was not sold on being a Red Rising fan.
Me neither.
Wow.
I thought, well, it's okay. It was an okay book. It's not the best book I've read, but it's good enough that I'll go to book 2. Well, and specifically because one thing Mike said, if you read book 1 and you're not satisfied, just read book 2. If you're still not satisfied, quit. Don't read it.
You know he's the fan, Mike.
But read book 2. And so I read book 2. And I mean, if you know anything about book 2, you're not going to stop. And so I enjoyed the fact that I wasn't as satisfied or thrilled about the first book until I read the next book. But I'll say this, and I may be saying too much, but I appreciate book 1 more now than when I read it, because what Pierce Brown was doing, he's just a genius. He was setting
I hear.
He was setting things up that you didn't know about, but now you look back and like, oh, I see why you were doing that. I understand what you were doing in book 1 now. And so I would say and how I ranked the books, book 1 went up in my rankings after I read the whole series.
I remember you saying that in one of your videos. Real quick, just because he's my pops, I got to throw it. My dad's never been this active in a chat. I have to throw him out. What book do you feel would be the best one to have a movie made? Whoever wants to start, I don't care. Mike, you go ahead.
Hyperion by Dan Simmons.
Mm.
I think that'd make a
Hyperion.
perfect movie.
It's on my list. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read it yet either. Tori, what is your book made to a movie?
I mean, I think Red Rising for me is the easy answer. The hard part would just be, I would be so hypercritical of anything.
It has to be a series because you
right. It would have to be a
gut
TV
everything.
series.
Yeah.
And I would be, yeah, very hypercritical. Like if the casting wasn't absolutely perfect, I'd quit.
Okay. No, I love that.
Yeah.
Matt.
This was actually one of the questions you sent us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is a hard.
My dad was like, it's like he made me or something.
Yeah. This is a hard one for me because I have found myself very critical of adaptations.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Lord of the Rings was the last good one I've seen. As far as an adaptation goes, no, and probably that's not fully true, but I'm just a little more critical. So I looked through my bookshelves today to try to figure out what this answer would be, and the one I came up with probably not one any of that we would be expecting. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I would
Neil
love to
Gaiman,
see.
yes.
I would love to see an adaptation of that. It's a fun. It was one of my favorite books last year that I read, and I feel like that would make a good.
Now, did you read
if
that
someone
with
did it
the book?
right?
Did you have the book?
Do I have the book? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you had the illustrations. I have the book also. The reason I asked that is because the book comes with illustrations and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable book.
I love that. I almost sold that book. I feel like you've convinced me to read it. So kind of back to my question. Who are some of your favorite booktubers? Mike, go ahead.
So my favorite booktubers, oh man,
yeah,
I think they're all great. I usually lean towards the ones who give positive vibes. I try to keep my stuff positive. Because there's just on the internet, man, there's so much
negative bastards.
And I know, especially on YouTube, you look around, all the negative hate channels seem to have all the success. They do. So I say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about things I love, and I'm going to encourage people to be nice to one each other. So I think, Philip's my favorite. Philip's just an awesome human being. But when I watch Philip's channel, I feel like I'm learning stuff. Every time we talk, we just talked about Realm of the Eldlings like a couple weekends ago, and it was great. It was great, and stuff that I didn't even know that I loved about that series. He brought out. I watch Andrew and Brian Lee Durfee consistently.
Dude,
I love
how
their
did
energy.
Brian Lee Durfee rake so many freaking books at once?
He's a beast. He's a beast. But I like the two of theirs energy. They have really good energy. Sometimes I feel like my videos could be a little low energy. I admire Bookborn's style because Bookborn, she's just so brave, man. She would talk about stuff that's just like some of the topics she comes up with. I'm like, I ain't touching that one. But she's fearless. And then I think, of course, everyone here is probably saying Petrick's always going to have my ear just because ever since the Goodreads days, Petrick's brought a lot of wonderful new series into my life. And I'll always be thankful.
Does it not seem like every single indie great is broken into the fantasy realm by Petrick?
It just about, yeah. I love it. For 2 years now, I've been telling him to read Sun Eater because I knew he would love it, and he'd been telling me to read Bound the Broken. So I feel like at this point, he and I know each other's likes and dislikes enough that I think we ever make
still
a bad
to this day, I can't figure out how the hell to get a hold of him. So I may hit you up here soon.
Who, Petrick?
Yeah.
Just tweet him. He almost responds to
Dude,
just about everybody.
I tweeted him. I feel like I have to pay for that premium Twitter to really get through to him.
Yeah. I remember the early days of YouTube when I think it was before you had to get at least 500 subscribers before your stuff even came up. Because I used to type in my channel name and the exact title of the video in the search bar, and my videos would never show up until I had about 500 subs. I don't know if the new Twitter works like that. I've been tempted to do the paid Twitter thing just to see if it gets your links out there better. Because My tweets get like a lot of engagement unless I
Yeah.
attach a link to it, and then it's like nothing. You know, it just crushes those. So
I think that it's like a made part of just Twitter. Like so if you have a Twitter link, I think it'll do well. Kind of like if you have a YouTube, it's not going to do well. It's not.
See, John's saying it doesn't help. That's why I've been kind of like holding back to see once we get some more data on that, because I mean, I wouldn't mind if I felt like it actually like helps get your stuff out there a little better.
Yeah. Okay, so starting with Mike, what is starting your channel? Oh, hold on 1
You
second.
didn't ask anybody else their favorite booktubers.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. See, the ADHD is a real thing. Tori, what is your favorite booktubers?
Well, I have to shout out two of my closest friends in the community have for a long time have been Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads and Kay from Kay's Hidden Shelf. They're both incredible humans, and I love them very, very dearly. We're very close off of BookTube, and again, that's one of the reasons why I love the community is you make friendships that go beyond just talking about books.
Andrew makes me wish I lived in Indiana just because I feel like he and I would hang out for real.
Yeah, I got to meet him in person this year on a trip, and that was awesome. Yeah, that was super
I love that. So how did you meet?
Well, we were driving through. I just stumbled across his channel, first of all, and it was one of those things where I'd first come back to BookTube, and everybody is like the celebrity booktuber, you know, like, and I was just like, wow, and this person's so cool, and this person's so cool, and then you start talking to everybody and find out that they're actually human, which is awesome, and this summer we were taking a family vacation, and I said, hey, Andrew, we're going to be driving through Indiana. Can we just stop and have lunch and hang out and say hi? And so we met at a park in a diner, and it was awesome.
I love
public
that
play,
because
smart.
Right.
I love that because look, we all have these like people we look up to. I told my wife the other day, I was like, look, there's people in Georgia, there's people in Montana. Now that I've talked with, I dropped my pen. And it's like through BookTube, I have made all of these connections that I never would have had previously. Isn't it like the coolest thing?
Yeah.
It is because, I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I didn't know anybody in real life that read the stuff that I did. You know, they were like live crossword and stuff like that. They didn't read anything that I read. You know, and now I didn't bring up Madison when I talk about favorite booktuber. Me and Madison are like, that's like one of my best friends in my life now. And it's like, we've never met. We probably never will actually meet. But, you know, it's just, that's what's great about this community is you can find people who have similar likes and dislikes and you can become really good friends, you know?
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What is one of the booktubers you watch or a few of them?
Yeah. So I have not been watching as much BookTube in the past couple of months.
Stop selling yourself short.
No. I mean, what I'm saying is the more I read, the less time I'm giving to as much BookTube as I was as far as watching, because I was consuming everything. I'm looking at the lineup right here, and I was consuming as much as I possibly could. But again, a lot of the ones I listen to will are here in this stream consistently. Also, Philip, Mike had mentioned me being a hype man for a Matt. I feel like I'm also a hype man for Philip as far as the books go. I've just fallen in love with his books. Library of a Viking, I listen to him a good bit. You know, a lot of the ones that I hear others called the big booktubers, I don't really listen to a lot. I don't mean that anything negative, but Daniel Green, I may have watched 2 or 3 of his videos at all. But that has nothing to do with him. That just has to do with I like this is the community that I've really gotten more into. And so I'm just going down my list talking about ones that I know I listen to a good bit or watch a good bit. So this is my group. This is the ones I like to listen to. Hello?
You're
you
muted.
Lost your audio.
You're muted,
Matt?
There
Can you all hear me now?
Yes,
sir.
we can hear you now. You were muted for a moment.
Thank you for letting me know because I never would have known otherwise. So what I was kind of saying is we all kind of, so we all have started a booktube channel, but there was a reason for that. And I love to hear the inspiration for all of us that have done that, because it's not a small thing. It's not a small taking. As through Mike, we can see how much you just hit like 1,000 videos, Mike. Am I right?
Yeah, it's 1,000 uploads. But the thing is, like I was like, that must not count like ones that you've deleted or something, because I all my old podcast ones, I think I might have had like about 50 of them. I deleted those, but I mean, yeah, you put out 3 to 4 a week, for 4 years. It's gonna add up after a while.
Yep.
So I've seen so many videos as this is your background. You talk to so many people. Like I told you at the beginning, you're the reason I'm here. I love the Shining background too. I love it every time I see your door here, and this pendulum swinging. I don't know why
is that like my way of like hypnotizing people to watch longer.
Yes,
I look at my engagement stats and it ain't working.
It's like it has nothing to do really with the booktube thing, but it's like I look for that, and I think that just has a lot to say about people who watch your channel. I think it's amazing. What my dad kind of already asked this question, but I'm going to reiterate it. What is your favorite? Well, he didn't really hit this point, but what is your favorite subgenre? Mike, you can start.
Anyone that includes a coming of age tale, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, thriller, drama, romance, don't matter. If it's got a coming of age tale, it gets my attention. That's just something that I've never. I don't know. Maybe it's I grew up reading like Mark Twain and stuff like that. And I just kind of love that age range. And then obviously I found Stephen King, who's like the freaking master of it.
Yeah.
And I just got addicted to it, and found like To Kill a Mockingbird and things like that. Just read The Outsiders finally this year, which is like an embarrassment that I love that subgenre so much. And I've never read that one before. People are always like, hey, what's wrong with you to read it now? I found Robert McCammon doing it and stuff. It's just I love it. I can't get enough of it. And so to me, the main genre don't matter. If it has a coming of age story in it, I'll check it out. So.
I love that because people kind of like classify themselves. There is such a thing as niching down. Don't get me wrong, but there is these broad spectrums that we find ourselves really enjoying. I don't know myself. I would say coming of age is one, or the reluctant hero. Excuse my green screen. I'm still getting used to it. The reluctant hero is one. You've got Rand, which I'm only 4 books into The Wheel of Time. Loving the show. I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority with that.
Well, I like to be positive, so I'm not going to say the word.
I hear Gwen gets really powerful. That's what I hear. I love the second season. She becomes like a gangster, dude. And that's a part of the book I haven't experienced yet. So for me, that's my experience. Now, Mike, have you read the whole entire Wheel of Time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I owe a lot of my early success to reading Wheel of Time, because I'll have my critiques of the Wheel of Time fandom. They can get kind of little bipolar on you eventually, but I think they love to watch other people discovering and really first just finding the series and going through it. And so when I started just doing these, like, I don't really call them like spoiler reviews, I would just kind of just talk about everything that I liked and everything I didn't like in each book. And just, there's people who still find those videos from 4 years ago where the audio didn't even match my lips and things because I was so bad at this when I started. That they still find those videos and will email me and just tell me it was like they felt like they read it with me because they would watch one of those after they finished each book, and that's really awesome. But yeah, Wheel of Time's a journey, man. But I always tell people, take your time with it. The only reason I read it as fast as I did is because I thought I was going to Jordan Con. It was right before The Bachelor Shall Not Be Named. That was the only reason I tried to finish it so fast. But I was planning on taking years to finish that series. But
dude, what is it? 14 books long, right?
Yeah, and a novella. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. See, of course, Mike would know the novella. I love it. Matt. I'm so sorry. Matt's fantasy book reviews. I love when he pops in. He always have the greatest little comments. I'm literally the one or the only person in the family who isn't ADD, so I'm right at home, Matt. Thank you. That makes me feel better about forgetting my hosts or my guests, because it is what it is. I'm just so thankful they're all here at one time again. So starting with Mike, going to Tori, then to Matt. Mike, what is next for you, my brother?
Did anyone else do their subgenres?
Probably not, because right back on my ADD.
It's all
Tori,
right.
what is your
You're
biggest
good, Matt.
You're staying in character. I love it.
It's great. I love it.
That's one thing you can absolutely bet on me
Hey,
being in character.
You're having to juggle 3 different people, so it's totally fine.
You're good.
So
Totally fine.
let's just say I'm under 1,000 subs. We're getting used to this. I'm probably just star-studded. So Tori, your favorite sub?
Good. I just want to say, so the one earlier this year, I had the distinct pleasure of getting a chance to talk to my writing hero, Steven Erickson, on my channel.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I haven't seen that yet. I'm so excited.
I was a wreck, Matt. I was a wreck beforehand. So don't we all have our moments. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Mike and I actually have a lot of overlap in terms of story elements that we really enjoy. Red Rising is my favorite series of all time. The original trilogy is my favorite series of all time.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, I actually read it I'm trying to even remember.
That's how I discovered her. She had a beanie with the howler on.
Yeah,
it.
right there.
I think I got to get to know this
beanie
girl.
is like her staple. I love it.
Yep, my followers started referring to me as the Beanie Queen, so it kind of just stuck. But yeah, I read Red Rising way before I started a booktube channel, and just like instantly fell in love with it. I grew up listening to war stories, so anything military fantasy I usually love. I love coming of age. I love Motley Crue, Band of Brothers kind of vibes. It's so easy to get me with those.
I love it.
Ordinary Heroes. One of the reasons I was loving Mike Shackle so much is just because the ordinary hero kind of vibe, especially within military fantasy. I love that. So yeah, and I think I was gonna mention too, because you were talking about with the Red Rising, we were talking about Red Rising and what we were surprised by or what we loved about it. And this kind of goes for pretty much anything. I love tragic heroism, and I love that kind of self-sacrifice, which I want to do a whole video series on Red Rising pretty soon here. And I want to talk about self-sacrifice as a theme within the series, because I think it's so incredibly everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. So yeah, that's kind of that's not really a subgenre, but
No, yeah. So I have to say real quick, Matt, before you speak. So Grimdark is like, so I had this like, I don't know, foreshadowing of what I would be into. And I thought it would be the Grimdark. And don't get me wrong, I love a Grimdark novel like once every other novel, because if I only read Grimdark, I find myself in this mental space. It does. It does. And I've heard booktubers saying the same thing, and I was like, I don't think that's going to be me. It totally is.
You're gonna love this.
So I'm looking forward to it.
But make sure you got some like puppy dogs, some rainbows to read about that.
I love it. So one of the things, exactly what you're saying, I have to have. So my favorite, I would say, epic fantasy by far. Then I don't know. Epic fantasy is really where I'm comfortable. And then Grimdark. Like I said, as long as it's every other novel or so. Because if I find myself reading Grimdark after Grimdark, it affects my mental space, if you will.
Mhm.
So I really agree with what you're saying, and so far I'm not far enough into this one. We Are the Dead, which I'm so far I'm so excited to continue. It hasn't become super dark yet, and like I said, Mike was the first person to let me uh, to lead me into this book, if you will. And then he, of course, had his interview with him, Mike Shackle. Such a good interview, which I have to tell. I get to talk with him soon. He agreed to an interview. I can't wait. But I'll be done with this book, at least book one, by the time we talk. And then what Matt is reading, The Severing Son, Von Roycroft, which, by the way, is just the best name for an author, right? So I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, I have to have space in between my grimdark novels. I do. So, Matt, what is your favorite subgenre?
Well, I was actually okay with you skipping me on this question because I'm trying to think of a list of subgenres and
I gave
what
you
I could
time,
pick
brother.
through. Yeah, oh, yeah, right. Now, I was really paying attention to Tori's list she gave there. So I don't know what all classifies as subgenres. I'm assuming when you, like you said, epic fantasy, those are all subgenres. So I lean more towards, and I know I hear a lot of people complain about, well, this story, they started off with a boy on the farm who there's some tragedy that brings him off the farm to do it. That's what I love. I love. I don't get tired of it. You see things like that in the Lord of the Rings. You see things like that in The Bound and the Broken. You see that in The Wheel of Time, which I'm not huge on The Wheel of Time, but you do see that in the first book. And so I like. Would you call it traditional fantasy, classic fantasy?
Classic
I'm not
fantasy
sure.
vibes, yeah,
So,
for sure.
so that is going to be my favorite thing. I have enjoyed some grimdark.
It sounds like
But
you love Mike Shackle, by the way.
I absolutely do. But I would say that what my favorite thing is just something that I really want to read that I haven't read yet. I'm ashamed to say I haven't read it yet. Is anything by John Gwynn. And from everything I've heard, he's exactly what I
you
would
just
like.
said. That's what I was going to recommend. Was Faithful in the Fallen
Well,
to be your jam?
I have that series coming at some point, so I plan on reading it.
John Gwynn is the man, dude.
I plan on starting him, specifically the series. Help me out. What's the?
The Shadow of the Gods, the Hunger of the Gods. The
one before that.
Faithful in the Fallen's the one that's complete.
That's the series I have coming, and so I plan on reading that in 2024.
You're gonna love that.
I believe I will. I've that sounds like just traditional fantasy at its best, is what I've heard.
I have to say, real quick, because we're talking about John Gwynn, the book. So J.M. Miro got me into fantasy. It's Ordinary Monsters. He's a new author, but John Gwynn was the guy that got me really, really, really into it. The Shadow of the Gods, the Norse mythology. I'm on the Hunger of the Gods now. It's a soft magic system mixed with Norse mythology. It's just bad, dude. I'm so glad that Philip Chase, because one of the first booktubers I seen cover it was Philip. You will love The Faithful and the Fallen, Matt.
Well, there you have it. I'm going to love The Faithful and the Fallen.
You're gonna love it.
Dude, the way that you talk about the Edan.
I've heard so many comparisons. I've heard so many comparisons between John Gwynn and Philip.
Yep.
Wow.
And so I've just heard that over and over again. The story and the writing as well, and the way Philip wrote. And I can only go with Philip because I haven't read the other yet. But the way he writes battles, writes the war scenes, I've been told that that's very much like John Gwynn, and it's some of the best I've read so far.
Yep.
I still only read book one because I'm a terrible friend. But I will, Philip.
So I haven't read any, and I love Philip Chase. I have not read the first book, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I've only read the first one too, and I feel bad too.
I was
on my TBR.
I had a conversation with him last weekend. And two others. He's doing a series of conversations with people who've read the books. And actually, he said he's done several, but the one we did last weekend was the first one where all the panelists have actually finished the trilogy. And
That's awesome.
And it was just it was wonderful. In fact, I'll say this: if I have to say what my favorite book of the year so far is, it's absolutely Lonesome Dove. But my favorite fantasy book of the year so far is Return to Adan. So I loved it.
So I would also like to say Philip's up later than normal, so I feel very.
I'm convinced that Philip is cloned because all the stuff that he reads. I'm married to a teacher, so I know how much work goes into that. And then he has time to make these videos. He's writing books. He's doing the rounds. This guy, he watches everybody's videos.
Yeah.
And he either doesn't sleep or he's an android.
He comments on everything I've done, everything I put on YouTube. And then it was a couple of weeks ago when I was finishing up Return to Adan, I had a question, and so I just thoughtlessly sent a message on Twitter, and then I realized it was about 10 o'clock my time, so it was 11 or after his time, and I thought, I'm so sorry I did that so late. And he said, I'm up reading, so I'm fine. So I thought, well, he don't stop.
This is way passive. So look, I feel honored. Yeah, I even consider. Look, 4 people. I've done my best. So I'm so thankful you're here, Philip.
Excuse me.
I really look up to your Dr. Fantasy videos, everything you do. Mike, along with you, Philip is one of the very first people I watched. So what's next for you guys? Let's get to that question. Mike, go ahead.
I guess I got to start rolling out my, 2024 preview / 2024 kind of wrap up stuff. I always try to hold that stuff, do kind of my preview stuff for 2024 in November, and then do, kind of my year end stuff, your top 10 books, things like that. Maybe your most, I don't make negative videos on my channel, but I will do like disappointments. But I feel like I do that video in a way where I say, hey, these aren't bad books. And I'm not telling you not to read them. I just kind of tell you, this is why,
you do the best at those. I want to say that you do the best at saying, I don't like necessarily everything about this book, but you do wonderful, positive things.
Well, I mean, even one of my most popular videos on the channel from somehow is just that I didn't really like The Name of the Wind. And that video is the closest thing you could say I have to a rant video. And even in that video at the end, I say, I encourage you to read it and make up your own mind, though. Don't take what I'm saying, as fact. And I want people to do that because I never want to. I know people say that, I depend on you to know, but depend on me to say how fast you're going to read something, not that you're not going to read something. Don't depend on me for that. I definitely want you to experience these things on your own. But yeah, I think that just the regular stuff, holiday time, it's just time to, recharge the batteries a little bit and stuff. So yeah, I like the old wrap up content, but I started the other day. It's been a good year, man. I started trying to thumb through my top 10 for the year. It's going
to be tough.
It's going to be rough this year. Yeah. So we'll see. I might be like Brian Lee Durfee and have 15 honorable mentions. Top 10. Okay, here we go. Number 27,
Dude, he is like the list master.
Yeah.
If you can come up with 100 books that you can rank, look, you've got something going. Tori, what's next for you? Please speak on your book.
Yeah, so 28th of November, my book Bloodstones is coming out, and dare I mention, there's a pretty hefty coming of age story in it.
And she's not nervous, guys. Look at her; she's cool.
I'm excited. This is not in fairness, this is not my first rodeo. This is a little different because I have not had the platform that I've had previously. So the fact that
I'm on top now.
You're on top now.
Mike is moving up the ladder.
There he is.
Matt wanted to switch places with me so he can actually point at Tori now. That's what that was.
Yeah, there you go.
Or he wouldn't want me to forget you, Mike, because the ADHD has kicked in.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's there's a lot more pressure this time around because there's people waiting for the book, which is crazy and exciting. And
how does that feel as an author that started as a booktuber?
Good. I actually have been an author way longer than I've been a booktuber. I self-published my first book at 14.
I did not know that. Thank you so
she's
much
like
for
a
telling me
straight
that.
Paolini. She's like doing this 14-year-old.
Well, it's funny because I actually published around the same time that he
Really?
did. So I kind of was in that same like child author thing back in the day. Definitely
That's
not to the level
impressive.
of Christopher Paolini by any means, but yeah. So this is my official like kind of adult chapter, I think, with writing, and I'm really excited about it. And this is my love letter to the genre. This is a genre I've loved since I was a kid, and I'm just really excited.
I'm excited for you, and I have to read Phased. That's up at the top of my TBR, by the way. Matt is back.
I have no idea what happened. Everything went blank. I'm sorry.
What's next for you, Matt? What's next for you, brother?
What's next for me? All right. Try to get my sound down is what's next for me. Anyway.
Do we see the same barber?
Myself. So, yeah. All right. So,
Myself too.
a lot of what Mike said. So like I said, I haven't really made a lot of content in the past month. I've been trying to focus on kind of writing reviews for Fanfiatic. I've enjoyed getting on with that. So that's that. I feel like I may be personally more suited for that. But I do look forward to it. I've been trying to think about what I want to do for the end of the year content for BookTube, lists and things like that. Like Mike already said, it's going to be really hard to choose what my favorite books are. So I've tried to think maybe I could find different ways to favorite fantasy, favorite whatever. And so I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, but I do look forward to that. As well as I look forward to, like I said, maybe giving more attention to Fanfiatics.
I love that. Thank you. Again, I'm going to be a good son. My dad wants to know, what book would each of you suggest for someone to read as their first fantasy book? Something fairly
question.
short, and will keep your attention and interest. Thank you, and you all done a great job tonight. Thank you, Dad. Pops coming through in the clutch. Mike, go ahead. What would you suggest as your first fantasy book?
I think it depends. There's multiple variables there. I mean, it depends on your age. Depends
He's
on what kind of
very
book
unaware of BookTube.
I mean, so a lot of people, I'd say, when you're starting at a certain age, I always say like Narnia. If you're really young,
He's like 52.
I mean, people kind of snicker at this whenever I say this, but Harry Potter is an amazing place. Don't matter what your age is, don't matter your religious beliefs, it don't matter your gender, whatever. Harry Potter's great because I have all these friends. I mean, I have a friend I watch football with. He's always like, Mike, you're doing this thing where you talk about books. Give me a book you think that I would like. I don't read none of these dumb books you read. I'm like, thanks, man. So maybe you should try Harry Potter. I read no Harry Potter. It's kid stuff. I'm like, trust me, try it out.
It's really not.
This guy, my age, he's so obsessed with Harry Potter now. He actually like texted me that he found this Harry Potter themed restaurant downtown that he went to just because of that. He had to actually look for and stuff because he's so obsessed with it. Now every time I see him, every time he's like, give me something else similar to Harry Potter. I'm like, well, I've been looking for that for like 15 years. You find something else like Harry Potter, you let me know. You know, so yeah, Harry Potter, it doesn't matter your age. That story transcends everything. So I
Tori, what would you say to my pops?
So you mentioned he's not a reader. Does he enjoy
not.
TV series at all?
Yes, he loves Vikings and all that.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, he loves those.
I mean,
those videos.
I feel like if he's already into stuff like the Norse mythology, and I would actually say Faithful and the Fallen would be one I would recommend, with the caveat that there are a lot of points of view to follow in the first book. So that, you know, for somebody who's not used to that reading in with a lot of perspectives, that could be a little bit, but I would say it's a very accessible. Yeah, it's a very accessible series. And that one, I mean, if you're talking about like Norse mythology and Celtic mythology and that kind of area, I think that one's a really good, good opener.
Yeah. So I do feel like I can really sympathize with your dad in this, because it was just last year. Now, I had read a few fantasy series prior to last year. I had read Chronicles of Narnia. I had read the Wing Feather Saga. I had read.
Who wrote the Wing Feather Saga?
Andrew
Who wrote
C.
that?
Peterson.
Okay.
Andrew Peterson.
All right.
Yes. Yep. I loved it. It's not going to be for everybody, though. I would encourage anybody to read it. But I loved it, especially because a lot of the themes dealt with in the book. So I'd read some of those, but I really hadn't started reading consistent fantasy until last year. And I'm looking at my list that I created of books that I've read. So where I started, other than the books I've already mentioned, would be Tolkien, Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, great.
Harry Potter. Thank you, Mike. Also, I am not the go-to content creator for Brandon Sanderson, because I'm very new at his writings, but I would say I have not found anybody more accessible, more approachable than Brandon Sanderson. Even though he writes long, a lot of long books, though they're very readable.
But Mistborn's a good place to start. They aren't terribly long. Yeah.
Right. And see, I didn't find those answers before I started. I didn't know where to start. I started with Elantris. And to this day, Elantris is my favorite thing I've read by Brandon Sanderson. Nobody says that. At least I can't.
That's because you started with it.
Well, I read
later, like I did. You'd be like,
So that's what I would say. But I've read Elantris. I've read Warbreaker. I've read I've read the first book, and I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as Elantris. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. I just enjoyed it.
I would say the Drizzt books are really, really good for starters too. Yeah, because
I have not read.
I feel like everybody knows some kind of Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Maybe your dad played a little Dungeons and Dragons, maybe. Yeah, I think that Drizzt. I just started reading those. Those are really good entry point fantasy books.
Okay, I love that. Oh my gosh, yeah, my dad is not a as far as movies and shows and series. He loves that. I am trying. Okay, there we
go.
Where in the hell did you get that edition?
That's what I thought.
Red Rising.
I know she does that to hurt me. I think because she knows that I can't have.
Look at that.
Yeah. Now all first edition hardcover signed, but that's
you want to know what, Mike, is even better is now as of this year.
Yes.
There
Look
it
at the
is.
signature.
I've got all first edition hardcovers signed by Pierce in person while he was standing in front of me, and
this was signed in person. I met him this year.
That book, yeah. That's collector problems right there.
When you were about to give your answer, Tori, on what book, where to start, I was thinking that's the one you would give. Because I thought about saying that, just because
I try not to be super predictable sometimes.
Fantasy. If he said sci-fi, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, well, to me, Red Rising is very sci-fantasy, so I feel like it can, hit both genres. But
I think Mike touched on this, or somebody in an interview touched on this with Pierce Brandon. I don't remember who it was. But would you consider it fantasy or sci-fi? And of course, he said sci-fi. But I love Tori's answer, because I was screaming that at BookTube when I was reading it. This reads like a fantasy book. It does. And even though I get it that it's not, I get that it's sci-fi. That's
just a sensitive topic to me, because people have been telling me for years that Dune's sci-fantasy or whatever. Like, it is called the best-selling science fiction book of all time. It's not called the greatest selling sci-fantasy book of all time. Basically, I still consider Star Wars, science fiction, and other people don't. If it has spaceships and pew 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 lasers, sorry, to me it's science fiction.
It also has the Force.
So one question I wanted to ask before we were done to Mike: what sold you so much on the Dune book? Convinced me to read it.
Can I just say before he starts?
Yeah.
Can I just say I love to hear Mike talk about Dune? So go ahead.
Yeah. So I know that you read this in a point in time in your life where it meant the most to you, but still sell it to me.
I don't know that I can, because Dune is just one of those books where, like I do my Why You Should Read videos, and I didn't want to do one on Dune because I like to try to make that books I know people will like if they just give it a try. Dune, I still expect more people, especially modern readers, to dislike it more than they like it. So I don't necessarily know that I can. It's just, I say it's just that book that it just has to be the perfect timing for you for how much it's going to click. So a lot of people say they don't understand it. They think it's boring. They don't get what I love about it so much. And then other people will read it and be like, holy hell. So it's like, it's one of those books that if it does click with you, it's like life-changing. I was 15 years old. I was the same age as the protagonist. I was a big old no confidence. I could have never turned around the camera and talked to it like I do now and stuff, you know? So it's just, I don't know, it was just very influential to me that way. There's very many things that Frank Herbert taught that I still use as like the way that I look at life. Some of the ways that I approach things are due to that book. So it's very special to me. But as far as like saying, hey, this is why you like it, I don't know that I can do that. I don't necessarily.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, it's absolutely the best. I will read Dune because of you.
Well, I hope it works. It changed my whole worldview. It did.
I bought Dune because of Mike, that I have not read Dune yet. I want to. I just haven't. I haven't done it yet.
Started.
And I have the particular edition that Mike has.
Which one? I have like 9 versions of it.
Yeah, dude, he's got a lot.
It was one of the newer ones. It's got a lot of. I think maybe the pages. The cover is not the cover. The pages are blue. The outside of the pages.
The deluxe edition. Yeah, that's very nice.
Yes,
very nice.
So I think I got that on a Prime Day, and it was very cheap. So I got that. And I don't want to read it. I haven't done it yet. And I believe I'll enjoy it. The friends that I have right now that are reading through Red Rising, I'm on a text message group with them, and they keep talking about things that remind them of Dune because they both read Dune. And I know that I've heard you talk about that there was a lot of influence there.
Well, you'll read Dune now after reading Red Rising. You'll be like, I could see a ton of these influences on Pierce Brown. And he talked, I mean, me and Pierce Brown talked about Dune for 30 minutes before we started recording that night. So very, very important book to him as well.
Mike, you have convinced me to do a lot of things. We would have another hour and 47 minutes just to touch base on that. Tori, you are somebody who I watch often because of your honesty. And Mike, you are genuine in a way that I haven't found a equal to. So I just want to really... despite my mess ups during this interview, thank you all three for being somebody the people who I will continue to watch and be in awe of, and who I will forever be thankful. And in the future, I will also continue to keep it and message with and talk with, and probably ask all three of you to be back on my channel again.
Sure.
I just love all three of you. Thank you so much. There's 2 goals that I started with my channel. One was the first one I have to admit was to interview Ryan Cahill. The second was to interview Mike, and then those of you guys that I find so influential. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this. Tori, Mike, Matt, I love all of you guys. I love all your channels. For those who stuck around and watched this live, for those of you who will watch this in the future, this has been an absolute just highlight of my life. Seriously. Thank you.
Thank you
so
having
much.
us on, Matt.
Thanks a ton for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And for boosting my confidence. This is great. Thank you.
I feel like you're talking about somebody else.
I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go talk to Beard now.
No. Mike, Tori, Matt, you guys all have a huge part in my life, really every single day. So thank you guys. Thank for the people who watch and those who will watch in the future. Expect more in the future. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.